Hello, welcome to my Chronicles of a Lightworker video blog. My name is Katie Simone. I'm a psychic life advisor and I provide life wisdom from beyond. I'm also founder of Soul Evolution Center in South Florida. Its mission is to help you evolve into your best life. Today I'm going to be sharing an out-of-body experience that I had early this morning. Yesterday on another video blog that I posted on YouTube, I shared an out-of-body experience as well. This one happened differently than yesterday's, and I would just like to take the time to explain these differences. Yesterday, I had an out-of-body experience where I exited out of my third eye during my sleep state. During my sleep state, I naturally have out-of-bodies regularly during the week. This happens because I'm very naturally relaxed and happens naturally and spontaneously. I usually don't induce or activate them, though I have done in the past. So the one I experienced this morning also happened naturally and spontaneously. I know that there are people working on initiating their own out-of-body experiences, and there are various techniques written about in books, CDs with binaural sounds and beats to help put you into that state of consciousness to be conducive to an out-of-body experience. However, I have done some of that, not a lot, and not with much discipline and regularity, because I found that I have my own techniques that have worked very well for me, and I can have an out-of-body efficiently and effectively without spending a lot of time trying to get into a relaxed state of consciousness. So I had an out-of-body experience this morning, and it was different than the one I had yesterday. I categorize my out-of-body experiences as there's different methods and ways in which they occur. The one I had this morning occurred out of a dream sequence, that it has been a platform for me to experience an out-of-body. I know other people have out-of-bodies where they experience themselves lifting out during their sleep state out of their physical bodies and being able to view their physical bodies. That is one way to have an out-of-body experience, but not necessarily reflective of all the different ways. We are unique individuals. We have been born this way. We have unique variations in our energetic imprint and our energetic bodies. And so there are multiple ways to experience an out-of-body. And I share mine so that if you are experiencing this type of exit or experience, you can understand it better. But in no way are my experiences the only way. So I encourage you to keep an open mind, but also to think out of the box, as there are multiple release methods. The one I experienced this morning was out of a dream sequence, which means I was already in a dream. And I at times am a lucid dreamer, where I remember and recall the dreams that I am in. And sometimes I do have control over my actions. And sometimes I'm just a witness and I'm just observing myself in these dreams, and not necessarily having the high level of lucidity where I can control my actions. In this dream, I did have recall, and I was in a dream sequence. And this has been a common way or platform, a landing platform for me to exit out of a dream. And in this dream, I was getting very relaxed. I was actually lying on a couch in a room. And I had the thought that I was going to have an out-of-body. And so I had some kind of cognizance. And so I was just relaxing and preparing to have an out-of-body, probably already out of another out-of-body within an out-of-body. That's how it works with me sometimes. They're almost nested. You can call them dreams within dreams, or I call them out-of-bodies within an out-of-body. This seems to be a very natural method for exit, as you are already relaxed. Your consciousness is already separated from your physical body to have a dream. And so you have naturally transitioned to a certain state to allow you to experience another out-of-body. And so during this out of body, I became very relaxed, and I had a knowingness that I was going to have another out of body. And I'm going to share some of the precursors with you to an out of body so that you may recognize them and remember them, and maybe become more lucid yourself during your dream segments. As I became more relaxed during this dream, I felt myself falling back, and that's very common for me. And now I have realized, after having many experiences, that when I feel like I'm falling back, that means I'm going to transition into another out of body. I know this may sound intimidating or frightful, but I have learned to accept the feeling that where I'm falling back is a precursor to an out of body. And so I just allow myself to do that. I don't worry that I'm going to hit something on my way down, that I'm actually falling. I relax into it like I'm falling into a bed of feathers, or a pillow of feathers. And as I start to fall back into unconsciousness, the second step is that I usually feel physical movement. I actually feel like I'm moving around the room with my eyes closed in this altered state of consciousness in a dream. So I am propelled by some sort of force. I have not yet figured this out. And as part of the wind-up, it requires movement or acceleration in order for me to experience that out of body. So now I have fallen back, I am very relaxed and almost unconscious, but still have lucidity. And I'm feeling like I'm moving around the room. I actually feel like I'm laying on my back and I'm being propelled along the floor of the room that I am in. And I had the thought that I should really open my eyes to be an observer, because I know I document my adventures on my video blog, as well as my blog that's part of my website, soulevolutioncenter.com. And so I opened my eyes, and I opened my eyes just in time to realize that I am indeed supine. I'm lying on my back, and I'm very close to a room wall, and I'm very low on the ground, just a few inches off the ground. And when I open my eyes, I feel myself going through the wall. And that's the third step of having a precursor to an out of body, is feeling yourself go through a wall, or it could be go through a window, or it could be a go through a mirror, which I actually went through a mirror yesterday in one of my out of bodies. But you're able to cross those so-called physical boundaries. And when you feel yourself go through this wall or this mirror, just know that you probably are going to transition and go to another ultimate dimension or reality. This marks a delineation of the dimensions where you actually are going through or breaking the physical space of one to enter another. And I know that because I've had so many out-of-body experiences since my spiritual awakening in 2009. So soon as I went through that wall, I knew that I was going to enter into another dimension shortly. Now, sometimes when I go through the wall, different experiences may happen. Sometimes I actually enter a portal and I see light landscapes around me. I might see geometric and abstract patterns, and I'm usually traveling at some speed, sometimes very more slower, and sometimes very, very quickly, like I'm flying through the wormhole, flying through the portal. And as I do that, I'm able to view the landscape around me, and I do that because I am an observer and do like to document it, to share with others, to help them as well. But this time when I went through the wall, I did not go through the wormhole. I did not see the lightscapes. I immediately, what happened was I became lucid and was able to view a landscape, which was an office building. I was actually inside an interior building, and it looked like I was in a corporate building. And sometimes upon being deposited in a dimension, you do lose your vision. There seems to be obstruction of your vision. But in this situation, I did not have loss of vision. It was clear, which I'm thankful for. And I do share these tips in other video blogs as well. So my vision was clear, and I was able to see clearly that I was in a corporate office building. There were chairs and desks. There's upholstery chairs, and everything seemed to have a tinge of teal blue color. And now, and for some reason, this has happened before, I felt like I was propelled forward and flying through this corporate building at very high speeds by a force unknown to me. And I share this with you because that is part of the factors or experience of an out-of-body. You may be traveling so quickly. Oh, I'm hearing telepathically now at the speed of light, because you no longer are constrained by your physical body. And many times this force that's propelling me, I know is from within me. And I feel at those times that I am just a passenger to my own consciousness, where I'm viewing what's happening, but I'm not necessarily able to control it. Something else inside of me is motivating and initiating this. So I'm traveling very quickly through this corporate office building. And I end up in a room, and there's a woman waiting there, and she's dressed up in corporate clothing, and she looks very professional. And immediately when I see this woman, I know that she's waiting for me. And I do appreciate that, because sometimes when you enter these other dimensions, you may be unsure as to what your next step should be, where you should go. And many times I feel like I'm just winging it. And so when you have an escort meet you at a certain point to take you to the next juncture, it is very helpful. So having an escort is part of the flora of having an out-of-body at some times. You might not necessarily have that all the time. So this woman was waiting for me in the room, and then she even said, "I've been waiting for you, follow me." And that's unusual for me, because usually the escorts don't talk to me. They're usually a person of very few words, and they do their duty seriously, and they just finish their task at hand. And even though many times I try to engage them and ask them questions about where I am and what is this dimension, many times they do not. They're very uncommunicative. So this woman told me to follow her, so I followed her. And the rest of this you can read on my blog that I blogged about, which is part of my website. But I followed her to another room, and she showed me some legal documents upon analyzing, upon waking up, this helped to affirm the work I was doing in reality. The main reason why I share this out-of-body experience is to show you some of the main steps that you may experience during an out-of-body, especially out of a dream sequence. And those are, again, in summary, that you may feel like you're becoming unconscious or becoming very sleepy. And that's what I did during this out-of-body. You may feel like you're losing control. You may feel like you're falling back. And then the second step is you may feel yourself being moved or propelled along a space as you gather momentum to make your out-of-body exit. And then the third step is you may feel yourself going through a physical obstruction like a wall, a window, or door. And that signifies that you're leaving one dimension to go into another dimension. And the fourth thing, too, is upon arriving in a dimension, you may just want to check and make sure that you do have clear vision, because many times it does get obstructed. Sometimes you may be wearing goggles or lenses, and that you have to physically remove those from your eyes so that you can see clearly. And then also upon arrival in a new dimensional space, you may be greeted by an escort who will take you to the next step. I hope this is helpful for you. And to read more of my blog experiences and my out-of-body experiences, please go to my website, soulevolutioncenter.com. I'll be sharing more of these video blogs to help those understand some of their sleep state experiences and hopefully become more lucid and learn how to maneuver more adeptly through this changed time-space continuum. I wish you well on your spiritual evolution, and I do offer readings through my website, which can be booked through my online calendar, and also evolution coaching sessions as well. Continue to become more aware of your dream state and look at it from a different perspective, to use your imagination and to think outside the box. You may find that you have many revelations as a result of becoming more aware of the activity in your dream state. Namaste.